And welcome back to the show, where we are very, very lucky now to have someone that I believe is one of the most talented young artists that we have in our country at the moment. His name is Alexander Dymalovski, and of course, I reviewed an amazing theatre piece that he did a few years ago. He's now graduated from film school and has worked on his graduate film, but he's also got another very exciting film project to tell us about today as well. So welcome to the program, Alexander.
Thank you so much for having me, David. You're far too kind.
Oh, no worries. Now, Alexander, a lot has happened in your life since I went along and saw Mortality. Tell us a little bit about yourself as an artist, because, of course, you started out as a playwright, but now you've gone into filmmaking as well. So tell us a little bit about yourself as an artist and where it all began for you.
Well, I think it all began, when I was younger. I always loved just creating and entertaining and bringing joy to people, when I was younger, I always did both film and theater. It'd be at school, we did mini plays that I'd always get involved with, and then at home, we had we had a camera with an old Canon, I think, and I'd always shoot mini short films with my toys and use my mom's computer to edit them on iMovie. So I always had that combined love of film and theater. And then when I was in year 6, I did my first ever musical at school. It was Seuss School the Musical, and from there I fell in love with theater. And then in year 7, I did a film class, and I actually made my own film club at school, and that's why I fell in love with film. So I always had that combined love of film and theater. But because my school was a very performing arts heavy school, there were a lot of theater opportunities. I leaned more into theater just because there were more chances for that.
Yep.
So then when I graduated high school, I thought, okay, how do I want to take my career? I thought, because I've already had quite a bit of experience with theater, I thought I'll try film. And this is actually a funny story. When I was 8 years old, so in year 3, I actually acted in a JMC short film. It was with this filmmaker, Nick Livingston, and I remember at JMC they have this awards night at the end of each year called the Martinis, and I got to go to that and watch myself on the big screen on my 9th birthday. And just from there, I've just always had a connection with JMC. I'm just this is just, if I ever want to do film, this is the place I've got to go. So then, I graduated 2021, and I started studying film in 2022 while still trying to do theater on the side, which is when I wrote Mortality and the infamous Jan Fedinsky. And so I've just tried to keep doing both, whilst trying to balance it out both with the film side and the theater side, just trying to do as much as possible.
Now, you've, of course, made your grad film called The Murder. Tell us a little bit about The Murder and where the idea came about for that film for you.
The idea for The Murder came when I was in year 10. Originally, it was a play that I wrote. They had this program at my school where if you wrote a play, or if you could get the rights for a play, when you were in year 12, you could put it on. It's part of a mini production. So I had the idea from watching, actually that year's version. It was called the student production. That one was a murder mystery, and I was what about a murder mystery in reverse, where you find out who the killer is first. And the entire play is more of a character study of why they want to kill that person, what it takes for someone to kill someone. And just as soon as I started writing it, I immediately had the fourth wall breaking in it, with the talking to the audience, cutting away, that type of thing. But I didn't have as much experience with it. It wasn't until year 11 and 12 where I learned about Bertolt Brecht's epic theater, which is when I started incorporating that more into the play. And I didn't end up putting on that production because one of my friends, they put on their own play, and they ended up getting the rights to a Tom Stoppard play, The Real Inspector Hound, which Tom Stoppard, of course, he's obviously the better choice than a 17-year-old who thinks he can do everything. But then I always had that idea in my mind, and in screenwriting class at uni, I was trying to think of an idea for a script, and that one just came back to me, and I was this could work really well as a short film, because I remembered studying Brecht, because I did that. That was my main focus in year 12, theater studies.
Yep.
He did both film and theater, so I was surely there's a modern way to bring in Brecht's fourth wall breaking and the Befremdungseffekt. I'm very proud I learned how to say that word. Bringing that into the filmic lens as a way to act as a modern day commentary on a certain issue. And because in the original play, I was touching on themes of feminism and toxic masculinity, I figured that was the way to go, especially with works like Fleabag being popular.
Definitely. So we'll talk to you in just a little bit about the film idea that you're launching with us today. But Tell us a little bit about where you are now with your theatre writing and your filmmaking. Are you still heavily involved with both, and where do you hope to end up as an artist with both of those talents?
I'm very much in a state of limbo right now. I figured while I'm young, just throw myself at everything and see what really sticks. So in terms of theatre, I'm actually currently acting in a play right now, just for fun. It's playing at the MC Showroom in a month, and the end of this month actually. So that one, just a project I found off Star Now, and I wanted to get back into theatre because I kind of took a break from it last year.
Yep.
In terms of film, non-stop writing. I actually just finished the first draft of a feature film that I'm writing with a friend. That was based off a play that I saw last year. It was one of my sister's friends put on a one-man show. I watched it and I was like, that could make a really good feature film. So I got in contact with him. We got the rights for it, and now we've just finished the first draft of the feature. But then also I'm starting to do more of the producing side of it, just because I love organizing. I love helping other people create their vision. Whilst I, as a creative, I do love writing. Like, I love writing, but I'm not necessarily, I don't know, it's hard to explain, so I'm a bit incohesive, but like, to put it, I'd rather write something that someone else directs than like direct something that someone else has written. I like being the stepping stone in which someone else can achieve their vision and help them along the way, but like, I don't necessarily always enjoy being like that main one where it's like, it's all coming from him. I enjoy helping other people achieve their vision. That's the main thing. Whether it is in film or theatre, I think that's the main direction I know my path will go.
Definitely. Now, Alexander, you have a very, very exciting project that you were telling me about just before off air. This is a brand new film festival that's especially for young and inspired filmmakers. Tell us a little bit about this film festival and where this idea came about for you.
So it's called YAF, the Young Australian Film Festival. And I remember it was, I just finished making my graduate film, and I was sending it into a bunch of film festivals, and there were two moments that happened. It was one, I was kind of just realizing a lot of these festivals have like either a young part, or it's hard to compete. I'm going to try that again, sorry. I entered a lot of film festivals with my graduate film, and I realized whilst entering those that you have to compete with a lot of older, experienced filmmakers who might have more time on set or more budget and like more experience in the field itself. And it was kind of hard as a young filmmaker to have your film compete with those other filmmakers like who have a lot more experience than you. And actually, I was talking about this earlier this year at an event that I was at, and I was talking to someone, and they're like, oh, have you submitted your film to Chopfest? And sadly, Chopfest isn't a festival anymore.
Yep.
Because I believe after COVID it was shut down. And then she just said to me, oh, you should make your own Chopfest. Little did she know, giving me an idea, never a good idea. So then I just talked to my friend who I have a production company with my friend called Over 1203 Media. I talked to him about it, and he was like, yeah, why not? Let's start it. So I started with him, and also my other friend. The three of us, we've all worked together to launch this festival as a way to promote the next generation of filmmakers and to give them a platform to tell their stories.
Yeah, it is such a great idea because from a personal story for me, when I was a very, very young screenwriter, one of my screenplays got picked up by an up-and-coming kind of director, and we put in for funding, and we were told that the funding was going to come down between us and another film, and we kind of got our hopes up. And then we found out that the film that we were up against was a film being put together by Baz Luhrmann, a little film called Australia. So at that moment, we realized that we had absolutely no chance of getting that funding. So it's a very difficult thing because you do find yourself as a young filmmaker up against people that, like we did, someone who I think he already had an Oscar nomination at that point. So it is a difficult journey, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Especially because, like, coming out of uni, there are so many talented, like, young creatives that just want their chance, whether directing or writing or producing, production design, gaffer, cinematography. There are so many talented people who just want their chance in the industry, but it's just getting that in. It's just very difficult, especially if you're young. It's like that thing of you need experience in order to get onto sets, but you can't get onto sets unless you have experience. It's that catch-22.
So, when can we expect the Young Australian Film Festival to happen, and what are your next steps now with the festival?
The Young Australian Film Festival will be taking place on the 21st of September, and submissions are open until the 31st of July. So right now we're just going around to different events in different universities to promote the event. We're going to do a little caravan around to Sydney and promote it at Melbourne, do it around at different universities. And this past week, I've actually been volunteering at the St Kilda Film Festival.
Yep.
And I may or may not be using that as a way to promote the festival. So going to one festival to promote another festival.
So we know that we do have a lot of young filmmakers that listen to this show. So if a young filmmaker is listening right now and they have a film that they would like to enter into YAF, how can they go about submitting their film?
We have various platforms. The main program we're using is Film Freeway, which we were told at uni is the best way in order to try find different short film festivals. So we also have social media. If you go on Instagram or just look up the Young Australian Film Festival, that is probably the best way is Instagram. If you look up Young Australian Film Festival or YAF, you should be able to find a link to our website, which then takes you to the Film Freeway page, which is where you can submit your film. Or you can just go straight on Film Freeway and look up Young Australian Film Festival. The logo is a slate with the letters YAF on it, or the pretty cool idea that our head of creative came up with. So I can Instagram or just Film Freeway. Those are the best two ways to look up the Young Australian Film Festival.
Awesome. Well, Alexander, I think this is an absolutely amazing idea, and hopefully when your lineup has been selected, we'll be able to get some of those filmmakers on the show and also yourself back on the show to talk about the festival so that people know when to head along and check it out as well. But to finish off, what would you like to say to young filmmakers out there who are thinking about entering their film into YAF?
It's cheap. Why not? I think one of the main goals we did want is to make it affordable and accessible. So we have 14 different categories. It's $5 for an individual category or $20 to be applicable for all categories. So why not? It's time to give the next generation of storytellers a chance. Everyone, no matter who you are, old or young, you still have a story to tell. But I think this is a way to give the new stories and the new filmmakers who have something different and exciting to say. This is a way for you to promote your stories. And we already have a wonderful board of judges that we have on board so far. So if you want your film to be seen by some industry experts, that type of thing, definitely submit your film. But then also just, why not? Supporting each other. Just submit your film and then, just please submit. More submissions are good.
Well, Alexander, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us today. It's been an absolute honor having you on the show. I think this is an absolutely amazing idea, and I've got to say, I can't wait to be able to head along and check out YAF in September. So thank you so much.